I wanted to think about Harry Kane, and it's an age-old conversation. It feels like of does Harry Kane need to leave Spurs to be successful? So he's drawn level with Wayne Rooney now with Premier League goals, 208 goals, which is phenomenal in a Spurs team that is to deceive at best in the league this season. He scored again. I think that's 25 goals for the season now, which is again phenomenal achievement. Watching him interviewed after this game. Now, obviously, he's just come off the pitch. Last minute, they've lost the game, which is devastating. I thought his interview was really interesting because he just looked like he'd lost all answers and he couldn't understand why Tottenham were where they were. Think back to midweek when the United fans were chanting, "We'll see you in June," and he was asked about that after the game as well. Do you think that the way Spurs this season has gone now will push Harry Kane out the door? Because after the whole Man City debacle, it seemed like he got on well enough with Conte that he got back grounded with Spurs, and you could see him maybe lasting out there. Do you think he looks at this current Spurs squad and thinks, I just can't be a part of this anymore"?
I think he's probably known in the back of his mind that he wants to leave. I think because they had quite a promising start to the season. Let's not forget they were firmly amongst. Like at one point, it was going to be comfortable for them to be at least third or fourth, and it's just unravelled in a style that's so like Tottenham that I just feel like he's known for a while that he wants it to be his last season. Obviously,
Yeah.
whatever agreement or whatever communication he's had with the board and obviously Daniel Levy, who's it's just obviously a difficult person to deal with, as we know. It will just be interesting to see what does happen. I'll be very surprised if he's there, like come obviously the end of the transfer window, because it's got to be it, and it does actually feel. He's obviously had, like you mentioned, been linked with United quite a bit.
Do you think that makes sense?
Oh yeah, I was saying at the weekend that I think United have got one of the worst teams in terms of finishing, and if you look at the numbers in the league, their goal difference just says it all. Really, if you took Rashford's goals away from that, then we'd be obviously in a lot of trouble. But obviously in terms of Harry Kane, I feel like he'd fit in perfectly. I think. As well, I think Ten Hag, the way he wants to piece this team together, he will have an idea. And I think the thing about Harry Kane is he's not just the goal scorer; he's an orchestrator as well.
Right,
He can he can obviously dictate tempo, dictate sort of play, drop into those holes as and when he feels. Obviously, they have those runners running beyond him as well, which we've seen for England. I think it'd be the perfect piece, and it almost feels a little bit Robin van Persie like.
How many more seasons does Kane have, though? Because Van Persie's a great example. Really only had one excellent season and then one, which, all right, fair enough. The Ferguson effect obviously took its place there. But
and
is
the
Kane
David
the
Moyes
right
effect.
person? Yeah, of course. Is Kane the right person for United to be looking at? Or is it kind of another Casemiro where it'll be phenomenal when it happens, but you're going to be looking to replace them quite quickly afterwards for the kind of money you're going to put into it? What do you think? Has Kane kind of done himself out of a move and waited a bit too long?
I think this team that he'd be coming into, I actually think, has got a lot more potential and in a better spot than what. For instance, if we're comparing to when Van Persie went to United, there was a lot of players that were aging. The squad needed a lot of work.
Terrible.
Ferguson really kind of papered over a lot of those cracks. I actually feel as though Harry Kane will have a lot more around him to work with. Yes, obviously they'll rely on him for goals a lot, which is what he's been brought in to do, to score goals. But I just feel as though there's much more there to work with for him in this. And I feel like it'd be a definitely good fit. I know there's a lot of murmurs around them wanting a younger striker as well as a more experienced striker, which makes sense,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just feel like it's time. We've known it for years, haven't we? It's been time for... And that's the really upsetting thing, really, for me. If you are a lover of, watching Harry Kane play... You just want to see him. Not necessarily. I know a lot of people are saying he deserves trophies. Not necessarily deserve them, but deserves an opportunity of being able to compete for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
really, you just don't want to see this go on any longer. He just does fully deserve to be in a position to be able to, to win something. And
Yeah.
whether that's at United or anywhere else will obviously remains to be seen. But it's hopefully it's going to come to a conclusion, because I'm fed up of speaking about it every single year. So I'm sure
Well,
you probably are.
yeah. On behalf of the Football Diary podcast, I will say I'm so sorry, Spurs fans. It's just a calamity at the moment. It feels like every week we have to go on and talk about something that's gone wrong for Spurs, and maybe a hard reset in the summer is exactly what they need. But we'll see if they get that.